Welcome back to another edition of Arizona Wildcats Insiders Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Hutchison. And again, we are in the middle of a bye week for Arizona football. The team is now sitting at 3-0 with wins over Hawaii, a 34-point win over the Rainbow Warriors, 45-point win over Weber State, and an impressive 6-point victory over Kansas State. Yes, Kansas State is sitting at 1-3, but they're a more talented football team than their record shows. That's a tough-nosed football team that usually is in the thick of things in the Big 12. So very impressive start for Arizona. Not many people had them sitting at this point 3-0 in the season. I know I picked them at 3-0. I had them at 3-0. A couple other beat writers had them at 3-0. But nationally, nobody had Arizona at 3-0 to start the year. So with that, they're on the fringe of the top 25. They'll be playing Iowa State next week after the bye week. Number 12 Iowa State on the road in Ames, Iowa. It'll be an opportunity for Arizona to have a marquee win and potentially push themselves into the top 25. They get that victory. I think Arizona shoots up to number 18 in the AP poll. So it'll be a very good game for Arizona. Good opportunity, I should say, for them to leave a mark on the season and really let it be known nationally that Arizona is back as a football program. That game's going to be in Ames, Iowa, 4 o'clock Mountain Standard Time on ESPN. So nationally televised game, big-time recruiting opportunity for Arizona. During the stretch of games, we have seen the defense play at a high level. They're number 10 nationally at 8.7 points per game that they've given up. And to be honest, it should be less. If you take away a muff punt that gave up 3 points to Kansas State, if you take away a block punt that gave up 7 points to Kansas State, they've only allowed one true touchdown this season, which was a 75-yard run by Kansas State in the second half to open things up. So defense is playing at an extremely high level. Danny Gonzalez has his guys rolling. They're number one in takeaways as of right now with 8 on the season, if I could talk correctly. So that's an incredible mark for this defense. And this defense has really turned it around with Gonzalez taking over. And you're seeing switches, stunts, and just different schemes on the defensive line that have led them to this. I think their front seven really is leading the way, but their secondary, this is an elite level secondary for Arizona. And in my opinion, is the best in the Big 12. I think they're the best secondary in the Big 12. I think they're a top 15 secondary in the country, and they're only going to get better as the year moves along. So very cool to see defensively for Arizona. Offensively, Seth Daggy coming over from Marshall, taking over for Dino Babers, who had a vanilla playbook, who had a playbook that could put a cup of coffee to sleep. It didn't really meet the strengths of the team, the strengths of the roster, and it led to a lot of issues last year. Now, they're averaging 37 points per game. Right now, that's around 40th nationally. Again, those numbers will average out throughout the course of a season. I think if you average around 37 to 40 points per game like Arizona's doing right now, they're going to jump into that top 15 in points per game. They're going to be a top 25 offense. I think they will be a top 25 offense by the end of the year. And Noah Fafita looks a lot better than he did last season. Doesn't look like 2023 Noah yet, but he's not putting the ball in harm's way. He's making the right reads. He's running when he needs to, and he's really navigating this offense as a true point guard out there on the football field and has done a terrific job. So credit to him, but it all predicates on the running game. And that's what I want to talk about today in this podcast is the running game. Last season, again, Dino Babers, they didn't run the football. Now, I'll give him this. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt was not suspended, but ineligible for the rest of the year due to NCAA rules and a lack of knowledge of his eligibility coming into the year. The NCAA said he could play. He plays one game. Then they changed their mind. He's out for the rest of the year. So that's a big blow. You're talking about a guy that was an NFL draft pick, that was a 7th-round pick, but if he played the whole year, he probably would have been a 4th or 3rd-round pick and is the starting running back for the Washington Commanders right now, even though he's a 7th-round draft pick. That's how talented he is. So you miss out on him, but there was a refusal to run the football. Did they have talent last year? Yes. Did they have the talent they have this year? No. But you still had Kedrick Rosano, who is very talented, didn't get a lot of carries last year, and Quali Conley, who is a steady force. Once they got down in games, they stopped running the football and just put Noah out there on a tee for him to get lit up like a baseball. This season, there's a balance to the play calling. Right now, I think they're about 52-48 run pass differential. So they're doing a great job of keeping balanced. We just did an interview with Seth Day that we're going to have a full article on very soon. So, run pass differential is very good right now for Arizona. But you look at the backfield, it's been a back by committee. The first game was Quincy Craig, the Portland State transfer, ran for 125 yards, a touchdown on 7 carries. 7 carries, but he was the lead back. Arizona did a great job against Hawaii at running the ball. Weber State, they didn't need to run the ball. They passed for 373 yards and 5 touchdowns within the first 3.5 quarters. So Noah got pulled. They didn't really run the ball that much, they really didn't need to. They finished with 95 yards there. But we've seen in both games, Kedrick Rusano be very solid with 51 yards rushing and 48 yards rushing. So he's been a very solid, steady back, has gotten most of the workload. Right now he is banged up a little bit. And you go into that Kansas State game, he wasn't ready. So you have him down. And then during the broadcast, they talk about Quincy Craig having a serious shoulder injury that limited him in the game. Again, he played, but it limited him. So that's not good there. So you're down to Wesley Yarborough, and you're down to Ismail Mahdi, Texas State transfer. What do? They still run the ball. They ran for over 200 plus yards on the ground. And who was the lead back? Ismail Mahdi, 189 yards, and then had 32 receiving. He finished with 221 all-purpose yards, or total offense, which outgained Kansas State as an offensive unit where they had 93. Right now, yes, this offense isn't perfect yet. It is still getting there. It is working its way up to perfection. And you're never going to be perfect, but it's working its way up. It's getting better each time out. And it's all predicated off the run. Coming into Arizona, Seth Day got the mark as an air raid guy because he came from the Mike Leach system. Everybody thought Mike Leach, Sonny Dykes, that type of offense. Does he pass it? Yes. Does he like to pass it? Yes. But he understands the balance of football and the balance of needing to run the ball. Mike Leach didn't run the ball very much. His version of running the ball was quick screens and quick outs. That was his version of running the ball. Same with Sonny Dykes at times until he got to Arizona. But it was that way at Cal. You have to run the football to win games. And Seth Day, that's what won him the job. Again, we've said this before. Brennan was impressed with his willingness and wanting to run the football. Marshall was 20th in rushing last season. The Thundering Herd were 20th in rushing with an air raid guy. It's an up-tempo offense that's very balanced. Reminds me a little bit, not to the fullest degree, more of a Rich Rodriguez style offense where there's balance. You're going to attack defenses different ways and come up with new schemes to get after them, new schematics. And you want to keep that pace. You want to keep them rolling. This offensive ground game, though, is what is the heartbeat of Arizona right now. That can change over the course of the season, but it starts with the running backs, the 3-headed monster that they have right now. The guard center combination right now, that's where Arizona's running. They're running up the gut. They're not running around the corner. They're punching teams straight in the mouth. They're running through the tackles. So they have 2 strong guards, a very good center, and they're running it right through people. That's how you break down teams. And then lastly is Noah Fafita. Noah Fafita wanted to be more ground-oriented this season. You know what he did against Kansas State? Mind you, Avery Johnson rushed for 110 yards against Arizona last season. This year, he rushed for -16. So another, flower to Danny Gonzalez's defense. But looking at what Noah Fafita did on the ground, he had a career high. He had a career high with 48 yards rushing on 15 carries and 2 touchdowns. He found the end zone twice. Made a nice move, little juke move that juked out the DB to get in the end zone on the first one, and then plowed his way through in the second one, moving the pile to get in the end zone. So, yes, Arizona's offense is clicking. They're not fully there yet, and it all predicates from the run. this rushing attack for Arizona is legit, and it's only going to get better as the season goes along. And guys like Kedrick Reesano get healthy and Quincy Craig get healthy. Oh, and if Wesley Yarborough gets more touches and gets more involved and becomes more developed, sky's the limit for this rushing attack. Credit Seth Dagey, credit Alonzo Carter, the running back coach. He's done a great job with that room right now. They are clicking on all cylinders. But Arizona is a very dangerous football team, and it starts on the ground for the Wildcats.